Hi everyone. Today let me continue the second part of the chapter, The Hundred Dresses. It's written by Elpso Esther. In the previous class, in the lesson The Hundred Dresses 1, we had seen that everybody was surprised to see the pictures drawn by Vanda. Even Peggy and Maddie were wondered to see the designs because Peggy was always making fun of Vanda. Why was she making fun of Vanda? Because of her strange name, and she also teased her about her 100 dresses, which she claimed that she had, but wore the same faded blue dress every day. We also noticed in the first part that Vanda had won the drawing competition, and all the children were surprised by looking at her exquisite drawings. Now, let me start reading the chapter. While the class was circling the room, the monitor from the principal's office brought Miss Mason a note. Miss Mason read it several times and studied it thoughtfully for a while. Then she clapped her hands. Attention class, everyone back to their seat. As the students were moving around the class by looking at the amazing 100 sketches of Vanda, the monitor from the principal's office brought a note to Miss Mason. She read that note many times. Then she became so quiet and thoughtful. Then she wanted all of them to pay attention to the note, so she asked everybody to sit in their seat. When the shuffling of feet had stopped and the room was still and quiet, Miss Mason said, I have a letter from Vanda's father that I want to read to you. Miss Mason stood there a moment and the silence in the room grew tense and expectant. It was actually a letter from Vanda's father, and she wanted to read it to the whole class. She waited for all the children to sit in their seat. Then she became silent for a moment, which created tension in the minds of her students. They were eager to know what was going to happen and what was there in the letter. What is the meaning of expectant? Eager to know what was going to happen. The teacher adjusted her glasses slowly and deliberately. Her manner indicated that what was coming. This letter from Vanda's father was a matter of great importance. Everybody listened closely as Miss Mason read the brief note. She adjusted her spectacles, which made it clear how important that note is. She was quite serious, and then she started to read the letter. Dear teacher, my Vanda will not come to your school anymore. Jake also. Now we move away to big city. No more holler Polak. No more ask why funny name. Plenty of funny names in the big city. Yours truly, Jan Petonsky. Vanda's father told in the letter that he would not send his two children, Vanda and her brother Jake, to the school anymore. And this letter gave an information about Vanda's leaving to the school since they had shifted to a big city. Actually, this letter is an indirect complaint by Vanda's father because he is saying in the letter that no one in the city would call her Polak. What is Polak? It is the ethnic name for someone from Poland. And no one in the city would tease them because of a funny name because there are plenty of funny names in the city. A deep silence made the reading of this letter. Miss Mason took off her glasses, blew on them, and wiped them on her soft white handkerchief. Then she put them on again and looked at the class. When she spoke, her voice was very low. After hearing this letter from Miss Mason, everybody in the classroom was feeling very sad. They became speechless. Miss Mason cleaned her glasses and wore them again and spoke to the class in a low voice. I am sure that none of the boys and girls in room 13 would purposely and deliberately hurt anyone's feelings because his or her name happened to be a long unfamiliar one. She conveyed her disappointment to the class as she was very upset and unhappy after reading the letter. She told the whole class that no one in room number 30 should purposefully and intentionally hurt anyone's feelings because of his or her name was long or funny. I prefer to think that what was said in thoughtlessness. I know that all of you feel the way I do, that this is a very unfortunate thing to have happened, unfortunate and sad both, and I want you all to think about it. She said that anyway, what had happened in the school for Vanta was bad. She was also sure that everyone would be feeling very sad for Vanta. Anyway, whatever happened was sad and unfortunate, and she advised the students to introspect about it too. The first period was a study period. Maddie tried to prepare her lessons, but she could not put her mind on her work. The first period was study period, but Maddie couldn't concentrate on her studies. She had a very sick feeling in the bottom of her stomach. True, she had not enjoyed listening to Peggy ask Vanda how many dresses she had in her closet, but she had said nothing. She had stood by silently, and that was just as bad as what Peggy had done. Worse. She was now feeling very bad because she didn't try to stop Peggy from teasing Manda. It was true that she had never made fun of Manda herself, and she never enjoyed Peggy's making fun of Manda also. But on such occasions, saying nothing and standing silently was equal to what her friend Peggy had done to Vanta. She was a coward. At least Peggy hadn't considered they were being mean, but she, Maddie, had thought they were doing wrong. She could put herself in Vanda's shoes, so now she was feeling very bad. That is why she called herself as coward, because she never stopped Peggy from making fun of Vanda. She knows clearly that Peggy's intentions were never to hurt Vanda's feelings, because Peggy was a thoughtless girl. But Maddie, on the other hand, was aware that what they were doing to Vanda, that was all wrong. Then also she stood silent, which made her a coward for not standing against what is wrong. She could put herself in Vanda's shoes, which means that Maddie wanted to put Peggy on Vanda's place, to realize Peggy that how much Vanda would have felt and hurt at the time of teasing, for realizing that one should be there in the place of Vanda. Goodness, wasn't there anything she could do? If only she could tell Vanda she hadn't meant to hurt her feelings. So here, now Maddie was feeling guilt and full of regret. So she wished for a chance to meet and tell her that she had never meant to hurt her feelings. She turned around and stole a glance at Peggy, but Peggy didn't look up. She seemed to be studying hard. So she looked at Peggy, hoping that Peggy would be thinking about Vanda too. But she saw that Peggy was studying hard and she was not bothered about anything. Well, whether Peggy felt badly or not, Maddie, had to do something. She had to find Vanda Petronsky. Maybe she had not yet moved away. Maybe Peggy would climb the heights with her, and they would tell Vanda she had won the contest, that they thought she was smart and the hunter dresses were beautiful. So Maddie decided to do something, that to find Vanda and tell her sorry. She hoped that Vanda had not yet moved away. She also thought that Peggy will also go along with her to Boggins Heights and meet Vanda, and together they would tell her story. And together they would tell her she had won the contest and all the hunter dresses she had drawn were really beautiful. When school was dismissed in the afternoon, Peggy said with pretended casualness, "Hey, let's go and see if that kid has left or not." When the school was over, Peggy herself very casually told Maddie that she wanted to go and see whether Vanda has left the city or not. So Peggy had the same idea. Maddie glowed. Peg was really alright. She was also happy that Peggy also really wanted to go and meet Vanda and tell her sorry. So Maddie, she was here satisfied by knowing that. The two girls hurried out of the building up the street toward Boggins Heights, the part of town that was such a forbidding air on this kind of a November afternoon, drizzly, damp, and dismal. So, both of them went to Boggins Heights to see her to find out Vanda. We all know that Vanda was living there. During this month, November, the place was drizzly, damp, and dismal, means that the place was generally wet and the atmosphere was sad and hopeless. Well, at least, said Peggy gruffly, I never did call her a foreigner or make fun of her name. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. I thought she was too dumb and gay. Look how she can draw. Gruffly means, you can see the word gruffly here, it means low voice. Okay, so Peggy was telling her in a low voice that she never had fun of her name. She also thought that she was not sensible enough to understand that she was being made fun of. She was also thought that she was a dumb child, and Peggy was also surprised at her talent and how she was able to draw such beautiful designs. Maddie could say nothing. All she hoped was that they would find Vanda. She wanted to tell her that they were sorry they had picked on her and how wonderful the whole school thought she was, and please not to move away and everybody would be nice. She and Peggy would fight anybody who was not nice. The two girls hurried on. They hoped to get to the top of the hill before dark. Maddie said nothing. She couldn't say a word. She had only hoped to meet Vanda and to tell her sorry for teasing and to appreciate her for her beautiful pictures, then to request her for not moving away. She also wanted to tell her that both Maddie and Peggy would support her and would stop anybody making fun of Vanda. So, in order to reach the place before night, they hurried. I think that's where the Petronskis live, said Maddie, pointing to a little white house. Wisp of grass stuck up here and there along the pathway like thin kittens. The house and its sparse little yard looked shabby but clean. It reminded Maddie of Vanda's wonders, her faded blue cotton dress, shabby but clean. They found a white small house and they thought that that was Vanda's house. Wisp of grass you can see here, which means that bunch of grass. Bunch of grass was there along the pathway that led to their house, which resembled thin kitten. And you can see the word sparse here. It means scattered. So sparse little yard means scattered little yard. So the house and its scattered little yard were shabby but cleaned, just like Vanda's worn out blue dress. So the house and its scattered little yard, which was cleaned, just like Vanda's faded blue dress. It reminded of them Vanda's faded blue cotton dress. There was not a sign of life about the house. Peggy knocked firmly on the door, but there was no answer. She and Maddie went around to the backyard and knocked there. Still, there was no answer. Nobody was there around the house. They knocked both at the front and the backyard doors, but there was no answer. There was no doubt about it. The Petronskis were gone. How could they ever make amends? They turned slowly and made their way back down the hill. So they understood that they had already left. The Petronskis had already left. They were thinking that how could they tell sorry to Vanda then? They felt very sad and sorry, and then they walked back to their home. Well, anyway, said Peggy, she has gone now, so what can we do? Besides, when I was asking her about all her dresses, she probably was getting good ideas for her drawings. She might not even have won the contest otherwise. Peggy was thinking that she had already gone, nothing much they can do, and she was happy that whenever she asked about the dresses, she was giving her ideas for making more beautiful drawings. So she says that is the reason why Vanda had won the contest, because she had helped her by giving ideas to make dresses. Maddie turned this idea carefully over in her head, for if there were anything in it, she would not have to feel so badly. Maddie was also trying to convince her after hearing the words of Peggy, so she thought that she didn't have to feel so bad. But that night she could not get to sleep. She thought about Vanda and her faded blue dress and the little house she had lived in, and she thought of the glowing picture of those 100 dresses made, all lined up in the classroom. But she was not able to sleep in that night. She was thinking about Vanda and her blue dress, and she was also thinking about the little house in which Vanda lived. She was also thinking about those drawings of dresses that she had made and that were there lined up in the classroom. At last, Maddie sat up in bed and pressed her forehead tight in her hands and really thought this was the hardest thinking she had ever done. As she was not able to sleep, she sat in her bed and started thinking deeply. She pressed her forehead tight in her hands, which indicated that she was really trying to concentrate. After a long time, she reached an important conclusion. She was never going to stand by and say nothing again. After thinking a long time, she reached in a conclusion that she had taken a decision. That is, she will stand against wrong. If she ever heard anybody picking on someone because they were funny looking or because they had strange names, she would speak up. She also decided that she would not keep quiet if someone made fun of anybody because of their funny looking or strange names. That means she is not going to support anybody who is going to make fun of people. Even if it meant losing Peggy's friendship, she had no way of making things right with Vanta. But from now on, she would never make anybody else that unhappy again. So she should not mind, even she had to lose Peggy's friendship. She couldn't find Vanda and tell her sorry. So she couldn't make things right with Vanda. So she made a decision that she is not going to make anybody unhappy by teasing them. Now onwards. Thank you.